Away, oh hey, away, oh hey, hey, oh, away, oh hey, 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 away, oh hey, 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 away, oh hey, hey, away, oh hey, hey, away, oh hey.
Ninda Lucia Sudik Duna wla'matulinej. My name is Judy Googoo. I'm from Wapna'kikewi'skwaq, and I'm a mother of 6 and grandmother of 7. My passion is herbal medicine. I think that's the only thing that haven't really left me. Everything that other things that I would do it and leave it aside for a while and go back to it. But herbal medicine, never. I do jewelry, sterling silver jewelry, and I'm a barber. What else do? I do stained glass. I do a lot of art. I'm an artsy-fartsy person. I hunt. I do healing. I fish. Oh yeah, I trap. I trap and I clean the carcasses and make them into either rawhide or fur. I do a lot of herbal workshops. Oh, I used to do a lot of beading too, growing up. I used to do a lot of beading, but now I can't do it because of carpal tunnel. When I was growing up, I had a hard time getting people to teach me. They'll tell me this is this medicine, but mostly they would show me when it's already prepared and dried, and they would say to me, "Ma," and I had a hard time trying to learn what it is in English, so I really had a hard time, but I took a lot of workshops, workshop with a lot of good people, a lot of good elders like Sarah Denny and Dr. Granny and Nico. So I had really good teachers, and I took herbalism in Kingston, Ontario when I lived there as an elective. I took fine arts up there, and I lived there for 7 years.
Basket?
I do, yes, actually I did. I used to make baskets, yeah. I used to make baskets and used to make moccasins. I've tried everything. Yeah, I've tried a lot of stuff.
Why?
Because I enjoy work. I really love learning and then passing it on to other people. So
Learning what?
learning our Mi'kmaq craft, a lot of it, a lot of medicines. I have a bachelor from BA. Went back to university after all my kids were grown up. And I went to school for alcohol and drug. I'm a counselor too, yeah, for alcohol and drugs and guidance counselor.
Where did you go to school?
I went to UCCB and SCC, St. Lawrence College in Ontario, and St. Laurentian in Sudbury. So I move around. I used to love moving around. Yeah.
Where did you go to elementary?
Oh, I went to Wapna'kikewi'skwaq. Yeah, but I was a dropout. I had really a lot of issues at the time, so I dropped out and I started having family. I had 6 kids in 9 years. Yeah, so I was busy then, and I waited for them to go back to school, and once they were in school, I went back, adult education. Yeah.
Did you raise them yourself, or did you have a pet?
I raised them practically myself because I was divorced by 28. Herbal medicine, it's because I grew up with it. I have a lot of good memories picking medicines. My parents didn't trust Western medicine, and it was too far to travel. Most people didn't have vehicles. So whenever a person got sick, we would just either hop on our rowboat and row miles and miles to get Bagosi or something. And then my mom would prepare it. And whenever my sister got burnt one time really bad, Alexandria, I don't know if you know her, she really burnt it bad, her hand with oil. So my uncle, nobody was taken to the hospital, never taken to the hospital. My uncle would just put potatoes. We were living in Maine at the time. He would put raw potatoes on the hand, and then he would wrap it up until they turn black. Once they turn black, they would take them off again and put fresh ones on. Her hand healed really well. There's a little scar, but not much scar in it. But those potatoes really worked. Weird thing, but they worked.
Why?
I don't know, it must be something in the potatoes. I'm not really sure. Maybe the antiseptic properties in potatoes. About 25 years ago, I had really bad asthma. I was on 3 puffers. One had steroid in it, and the other one was a machine that I had to use constantly. Then when I went to school in Ontario, one of my elective was herbalism, and my instructor noticed that I was using my puffer too much. And she told me, that isn't going to work. You're just going to get dependent on it. So she took me out for a walk, and she made me pick these things and told me how to use them and dry them, red clover.
Can you pick it up and look at it?
Yep. Just red clover. I got fresh ones here.
Oh.
Actually, these are dry. And she told me, just pick 7 heads, put 4, fill this up with hot water, and put 7 in there, and let it steep for 20 minutes. So that's what I did.
Boiling water or?
Just boiling water, but not to boil them, just boiling water, just like you would make tea. So she told me to take it 3 times a day, 1/3 cup a day. So that's what I did from September or October till around springtime when our school year was over. And by that time, I didn't even realize that I didn't use my puffers and I didn't need them. I got weaned off of them. And it's been 20 years now. I don't have asthma.
You keep taking that?
I don't have to take it at all. I never had to take it. It just went away. So, and this is also good for people with people that have menopausal things going on with their body. Yeah, so I really believe in this medicine. One thing about native medicine, you can't overdose on them. And it takes a long time for them to kick in. But they do work, and I believe in them 100%. I grew up with them. I don't even trust Western medicine. Yeah, I get a cold, I start taking my medicines. This is Kaju. We call it's tootwort. It's called tootwort. And it's good for laryngitis or sore throat. I want to do it again. And it's tastes like
Can you just hold that a bit?
horseradish. The greener the root, the more potent it is. And the reason why it's green, it likes to grow on top. That's the plant right here. If you went to the woods, you won't be able to find that now. They're all done growing, but this is really good stuff. It's really hot. It's really hot. That's one of the Googoo tootwort. And, oops, sorry. The next medicine that are very popular in native homes is bagosi. This is what the root looks like, of bagosi. Bagosi is cow parsnip. And this root is also very hot. My mom used to use it a lot for my brother because he was a bedwetter, had bad kidneys. And whenever you have really bad flus and colds, this is the first thing they'll start administering it to you. Kiwasu, sweet flag. This is very popular in native homes. In the old times, when we had wood stove, when everybody had wood stove, they would have this boiling on top of the stove for 24/7. It was because to prevent diseases from entering homes, and they would just cut them in pieces, small pieces, and they would string them on a string, and they would wear it underneath their garments or in their pouches, or women would even put them on safety pins on their bras and on their clothes, right? And it was a prevented TBs, colds, and it was good for stomach pains, cold, flus. You find this in marshes, and it's very easy to identify. It's more like a taper, one big taper root, and you have to follow it and pull it out. It grows in the marsh, and you'll see it. It has a brown thing sticking out. And that's how you recognize it. And it has, the bottom of the roots are reddish. Mm-hmm. And then, but you got to be careful. Blue flag likes to grow with it, and blue flag is poisonous. So you got to really know your plant when you pick your roots. But lots of times you smell it anyways. You smell it right away. It's really potent. This is a hawkweed. This is really tasteful and it tastes really good. Hawkweed, this is good for your heart. And another thing that's good for your heart is this. I don't know how to say it in Mi'kmaq. There's an older guy here. I even picked this for him. He uses it for his heart. It's good for people that just had strokes and heart attacks, and they would drink this. It's tea berries, or tea berries, or wintergreen in English. Kajumen, I think they call it in Mi'kmaq.
And you dry out the red berries?
Yeah, you just make it tea. I just took the berries to show people, but you just make tea with it and drink it.
You don't bother with the berries,
or you could eat. They're edible. I do sweats. Sometimes I do a 4-day sweat just to give my body a break. And then after we have our 4-day fast, then they give us Labrador tea. This cleans your system, and it's good for a lot of things like fever, and there's a lot of good uses for it. I can't really.
Can you pick
It's
it up?
right there.
Could you pick that up?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's good for sore throat.
Where do you find it?
It's for pain. Or you get them from the mountains. The leaves are rusty coloring, so you can't mistake it. And it has white flowers. It's a brush. Mm-hmm. It's about maybe 2 feet tall. Googoo was next door to me. she's the one that told me about this. So she treated her husband that had heart trouble. And she always stressed to me that she said, I think this little thing at the end of the tree, there's a little next year's growth. There's a little bud right here. See that? Yeah. And she told me, I think that's where all the medicine is. Because she used this medicine to make tea. She made tea for her husband that had heart trouble. This next medicine is plantain. Plantain is also edible. You could eat it like a salad. It's good for pain, fever, and it's two kinds here. There's the broadleaf, and there it is right there. Plantain. It's broadleaf plantain, and we have English plantain. There's a lady in Exisoni. I interviewed her a couple of months ago, and she said her sister had a big ulcer in her leg, and the doctors couldn't heal it with all the medicines they gave her. So what she did, she just started picking these. Her mom was a herbalist too. She said she picked those, she put them in water, and she made sap out of it. And this ulcer was about this deep. It was deep. So she put that stuff on her, and within a week it started getting healing, and she healed her own sister with this medicine. And it's also good for people with sting, like if you get stung by a bee or a fly or a cut, you just put that, you chew it and put it on the wound, and within minutes that pain will go away. I made some salves, but that one is bear grease. Probably has ginger, probably has golden thread with it though. Oops, it's all dry. Yep. This is just bear grease.
And what's that for?
A lot of people use it for arthritis. I know a friend up here, I can't keep that in my house. Every time I have bottles of it, she would come over and she uses it for arthritis, and it works for her. It's also good for people that are balding, for bald hair. Yeah, and instead of olive oil, I use it in my ointments. Time I make pain ointments for people with arthritis. I was brought up with it. Mm-hmm. And I just love to learn. I love to listen to elders. Everybody uses it a different way. And our children need to know. Wow. They need to learn. You never know what's going to happen to us these days. You know, a lot of our teachings are oral medicines, but people are changing. Our kids are reading, and people need to start writing them down so they could learn in their way. We learn by, I know I was taught by going to the woods and learn from my elders. Mm-hmm. So, but our kids are learning differently. They're going to college and they need to learn. I had a hard time. I really had a hard time because I knew my medicines in Mi'kmaq and I didn't know them in English. So I had to be detective and try to figure out what mint is. It said mint here. My parents called it wla'matulinej. So it was hard for me to distinguish what plant they're talking about. So that's why our kids need to learn both languages. A lot of people are using this now. This is chaga. And chaga is good for men that have prostate cancer. It doesn't heal cancer. It just prevents it from moving. And a lot of people are, this is the powder form. It's really hard to break it down. It's like rock.
Where'd you find it?
You could get it at the health food store, already prepared, if you don't know what the plant looks like. But I go in the woods. It grows on birch tree. It grows on birch tree, and you'll even see the little piece of birch still stuck in here. And it's also good to build up your immune system. Like when there's a person that always gets colds and their immune system is low. I've been doing this all my life. I'm 61 now, and I'm still learning. So you got to be careful. You just can't go out and pick medicines thinking, like, for instance, Bagosi. Bagosi is has a cousin, hogweed, and this hogweed is 10 feet tall. But if you went and picked a small hogweed, it would be almost identical to a cow parsnip. They look the same, but one is hairy and one is not. And this is dangerous. Hogweed is dangerous. That sap they have on the plant, it could go on your skin. It's like oil. It goes on your skin, and you could get dermatitis, and it could be sick for about 10 years. And this does too, but it's not as bad. When we handle this plant, Bagosi, we usually just handle the roots. We don't handle the other part. So you have to be careful. Make sure you bring someone that's knowledgeable, an elder. Usually before I pick my medicines, if we don't have, we place sweetgrass, some kind of medicine to give thanks. And if we don't have sweetgrass, there's short prayer that I do, and I forget. Sometimes it's just good to just take a hair and just offer that. Good carbon. Sweetgrass, in native homes, you notice there's sweetgrass behind me. In every home, most people have sweetgrass hanging in there. It purifies. I go when I feel like going up, when I just feel like I want to go hunting. I don't hunt every day. I don't have time to hunt every day. Yeah, but the last one I caught was 2 years ago. I got 2. Got a mother and a calf. Yeah, and we usually just donate them to the community so everybody could eat, especially people that have low income and elders. They love meat and it's healthy. Moose meat only has 2% fat compared to cow. I think it's, I don't know, 14%.
What about eel?
Eel, I love eel. Eel is good for you. I would say Googoo, wla'matulinej down wla'matulinej. That's my prayer, right? Yeah, it just says, Greater, thank you for this plant, and whoever uses this, let them be healed. Sort of translation to that. That's what I say. And I never pick plants without thanking them first. Even when I hunt moose, I always place tobacco, and I always thank them for giving up their life to feed us, right? Yeah. be respectful.